We're back at Santapod for round 3 of the UK front-wheel drive drag series taking place at Jap Show. We're starting with a look at Saturday's pre-event test day where several of our drivers were out testing, including Dougie Gemmell in the TDI-backed Honda Civic. Dougie was a regular in the old HKS drag series and has returned to the track this season after several years away. Now this is a very quick car and the team is setting things up for a hard day's racing tomorrow.
Okay, it's Saturday night here at Santapod Raceway, the day before the Jap Show, round number 3 of the UK front-wheel drive drag series. I'm here with Dan Frost and we're just chatting about the Door Slammers event that we had a couple of weeks ago, which was more of an outlaw event. Obviously, UK front-wheel drive drag series, you've got certain rules: weight, turbo, tyres, and obviously the wheelie bars. You tried wheelie bars at the Door Slammers. How did that go for you?
I don't think it made a fat lot of difference, to be honest with you. Everyone's raving about them. I don't think unless your car's set up for them, it makes a massive difference.
Interesting to hear Dan's take on traction bars there. So let's take a quick look back at Door Slammers, an event that saw 27 of Europe's top front-wheel drive cars entered, one of which was Alan Duthie, out for the first time this year testing his new ECU setup, but having gearbox problems all weekend. But no problems for Michael Holloman in the Minion Civic out on a test run the day before competition, and check out Martin Smith's street-legal 3,000 horsepower Bentley in the other lane. Michael already holds the European front-wheel drive record, but absolutely smashed it on this Saturday qualifying run, 8.36 at 161 miles per hour. Keel Priestman was also in the fray here alongside fellow front-wheel drive competitor Paul Bargate in the Scirocco. Great camaraderie in the pits, and Keel and Luke Pritchard helped rebuild Michael Holloman's gearbox before that record run. But on to race day at the Door Slammers, and it's a very different format. The pairings drawn randomly out of a hat by the Red Zone Sports.bet cheerleaders rather than being based on qualifying times.
Oh, number 1, Michael Holloman. Oh, it's not Dan Frost! Oh! Well, if you couldn't get Keel, we wanted Nicholas or Dan, and he's got Dan. What a matchup!
So round 1 saw Dan Frost with the pairing that nobody wanted, facing off against European record holder Michael Holloman from the Netherlands. The Minion had suffered some transmission damage on that record run, so can Dan bring home the win for the UK? Well, Dan gets the better reaction time, but Michael in the Minion pulls past him and does enough to take the win, 9.20 to a losing but very respectable 9.83 for Dan. Keel Priestman up next against Lee Openshaw in the Fiat Punto. Now Keel should have this one covered. He makes no mistakes away from the line and he looks to be onto a good run here. Arrow straight. And yes, Keel takes the win with a very strong 8.84 to move into round 2. Riding on board with Keel, you really get a feel for the power of Keel's car. Thank you to Keel and the team for the onboard footage. Great to see Andy Nichols out in the Honda Integra here at Door Slammers. Andy made a great start in the 2018 front-wheel drive drag series with the new car at the last round, but unfortunately he's not entered for the Jap Show. This is a good strong run and he takes the win with a stout 10.94. Keel Priestman out again for his second round matchup against the cloud maker himself, Carl Goldsmith in the right lane with the street legal VW Golf. These two have raced before in the UK front-wheel drive drag series, but this weekend they're racing in Spal front-wheel drive. And this is looking very good for Keel, an absolute faultless run. And yes, an 8.56 at 175 miles per hour. That's a new UK front-wheel drive record. Well done to Keel and the team. But unfortunately for them, mechanical problems for both Keel and Michael Holloman meant they went out before the final. And in that final, it was Stephen Ray in the SD Autos Astra van against Adrian Solly in the late Goose Audi A3. Consistency and reliability counting just as much as out-and-out performance. The win and £2,500 prize money going to a very happy Stephen Ray. So back to the Jap Show test day on the Saturday, and Alan Duthie is still trying to solve his gearbox problems and get that new ECU mapped before race day. He put in several passes but still looked to be having problems. Alan and his very well-known Vauxhall Corsa is usually one of the front runners in the class and certainly puts the miles in to come and race here at Santapod. He's desperate to get the car set up again and get back to running the numbers, which I'm sure he will soon. Getting quite out of shape on this one.
I don't know what's happening. I'm struggling with the box. Second gear's jumping out a wee bit as well now. We're sorted third, so we just held it in third gear, get some data logging. Managed to hold it all the way up the strip there in third gear. So we're checking the data logging now, setting up some bits and pieces. So hopefully we can progress tomorrow.
Tomorrow, of course, being race day here at the Jap Show. Also out testing was Phil Reeves, taking every opportunity to get more run data in the Horsham Developments backed Ford Fiesta. And after the really serious racing team was soundly stuck in the 10s at the start of the year, that's just a few thousandths off his best ever time with the car.
So a lot of it was down to mapping. I let my boss, Jez Horsham, get back behind the computer, and things, a lot of problems have been ironed out. We've done some good testing today. This is the result from it.
So looking at the event, it's not a huge entry, so that means there's a good chance of picking up a few points there. How are you thinking for this event?
I would love to win it, to stay in the lead, but Keel Priestman was 8.5 from door slammers. That's a bit of a worry, and Dan Frost is so consistent. Yes, so it's a bit, worst case third place, hopefully.
So on that test run then, obviously you were delighted with the time. Any other issues come to light? Transmission, anything?
No, it's all still reliable, touch wood. There's some more logging to do, there's more tweaks, so hopefully it might be a new PB tomorrow, but we never know, we'll wait and see.
So on to Sunday morning and the Jap Show proper. It's a huge event attended by thousands of Japanese cars and clubs with plenty of run what you brung action as well. It's also a round for the Jap Drag Series and of course round 3 for the UK front wheel drive drag series. We have 7 cars entered, but unfortunately damage to Luke Pritchard's Civic at yesterday's test day means that we're down to 6 cars in competition. There's going to be 3 qualifying sessions, then straight into eliminations this afternoon. Last minute tyre pressure checks in the old Fire Up Road, and it's time to take to the track here at Santapod. First up, it's Dougie Gemmell in the TDI North backed Civic. Still setting the car up, remember, and running with wastegate pressure only on this run. Alan Duthie, of course, over there in the S&J Motors back Corsa. Both cars gathering valuable data on every run, and this is looking like a good pass for Dougie. An impressive 1093 at 135 bodes well for his weekend. I'm guessing he'll want to turn the wick up, though, next time out. Keel Priestman back from that stunning 8.5 record run at the door slammers. He's a man on a mission this weekend, running alongside Phil Reeves in the Fiesta. Phil's getting close to PB territory in testing. Keel's only running with low boost on this one, and wow, straight into number 1 spot for the Skunk 2 Racing Tajiwa backed Civic. Strong run as well for Phil. Dan Frost in the Fix Auto backed Civic ran a strong 9.83 in his first round exit against Michael Holloman at the door slammers, so he's a man on form at the moment. The car is sounding very strong on this run. No traction bars this weekend, but we know Dan's not a fan. A personal best 9.77 at 153 miles an hour. Well done to Dan, Amy and the team. On to Q2 now, and the weather's starting to warm up, and Pete Cole's Renault also seems to be warming up as he finds a radiator hose leaking just before his run. A quick bit of spannering gets the hose tightened, but he can't race this time out until it's been checked out fully in the pits. Water under slick tyres on a fully prepped drag strip is never a good mix, so Pete's gonna have just one shot at getting into the field next time out in Q3, and we'll be all rooting for him. He's not had the best season so far, with damage at round 1 causing a fire going through the finish line, which is character building, I think we'll say. So that leaves just 2 cars looking to run in Q2, Phil Reeves and Dougie Gemmell. Alan Duffy's working away in the pits, and both Keel Priestman and Dan Frost have elected not to put in any more qualifying runs, as they're already well in the field. But that doesn't stop them coming down to the start line to check out the competition and watch a bit of racing. Dougie Gemmell in the left lane, I think they're going to hold him back and run Phil Reeves through on a solo. This is looking like a quick run, and wow, a 9.65 at a massive 154 miles per hour. Well done to Rasheen Graham and of course Phil of Really Serious Racing. Food for thought for Dan and Keel. We're going on board for this run, and thanks to the Really Serious Racing team for the footage. You get a real sense of the speed and power from these cars, plenty of steering the whole way down. Dougie Gemmell and TDI North have upped the boost for this run, launching with 1 bar, then 2 bar coming in from second gear, much better to half track, but then unfortunately the clutch starts to slip and he's off the power. What that means for his chances in eliminations remains to be seen. A big part of the Jap Show is the Run What You Brung action for Japanese cars, and one such car is Lizetta from the Netherlands.
Why do you travel all the way to Santapod?
Because this is the best track, and if I want to drive a PB, then it's over here.
Lizetta from Lola Racing, check it out on Facebook.
Now, Lizetta has said that as soon as she runs an 11, she'll enter the front-wheel drive drag series, and that'll be great to see. Will she do it on this one? Up she goes to the stripe. Oh, it's close, a 12.08. So close to that magical 11. So back to qualifying now, and it's the final session. Pete Cole in the Renault leads the cars down the old fire-up road. So called because everyone used to line up here to race way back in the day. 4 cars have come out for Q3, including Dan Frost, who, if you remember, sat out Q2. So Dougie Gemmell still with gearbox issues, and it's great to see Pete Cole in the Renault take to the track. By putting in this run, Pete gets himself onto the eliminations ladder, and it looks like a nice trouble-free run for him. Issues for Dougie in the auto glim lane, but Pete successfully through to the top end with an 11.35. Dougie picking up speed in the second half of the track to post a 14.76. Our last pair in qualifying, and it's Phil Reeves, fresh off that PB in Q2, running alongside Dan Frost, who ran his PB in Q1. Bit of a stutter for Dan at half track, but Mr. Consistency Phil Reeves goes through with a 9.8 at only 130 miles an hour. Back in the pits, there's only 1.5 hours until eliminations. We caught up with a delighted Phil Reeves.
Well, I've just seen you looking round Honda Civic, but surely you're not thinking of changing after that. That's a PB.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with that. It's been a long time sort of chipping away at it since the beginning of the year. It's getting there at last. No, I was just scouting out the competition.
Have you been making specific changes? Do you think you're going to do a bit more for the rest of the event, or are you happy with that now and just see what happens?
I've got another kind of map changes to try. It's still doing like a fuel cut, so it's being like there's an overprotection coming in. So hopefully I can iron that out, and I might dip into a 9.5 if I'm lucky.
So the qualifying list looks like this, with Keel Priestman in the number 1 spot with his one and only qualifying pass.
Well, I know you only actually have to run as fast as you have to run when it's this sort of event. You're not after a personal best, but you did it first time out, and it seems like the last time we saw the car, it seems effortless now. So is it really getting to a consistent stage?
Well, I hope so. We're just running at a bit lower boost now, just trying to work back up to where we were, but just wanting everything to be controllable. So we're just saving maps and getting things right.
Now, I know in theory you've still got 0.6 or so of a second at least above the next car, but that really doesn't mean a thing once you get to eliminations, does it?
Nah, not at all. Anything can happen, it always does, so it never just goes to plan.
Into eliminations, and the big news is that as number 1 qualifier, Keel gets a solo in this round, the quarterfinals, but also he'll have a solo into the semis. By taking the green light here, he's effectively into the final. No burnout and no need to push the car and risk breaking it. Off the power at the top, job done. Now, Dan Frost had some good qualifying numbers and he's taking on a wounded Dougie Gemmell in his quarter-final race. On paper, Dan should have this one covered, but we race on a drag strip and not on paper. But, oh, Dan's rolled through the stage. He's put a big fat cherry on the tree, handing an automatic win to Dougie. The win light's already on in the qualifier lane, and I think Dan's seen it because he's off the power. Dougie dodged a bullet on that one, and a promising weekend for Dan comes to an end. It's Dougie who goes through to the semis. After all that work to get here and that one qualifying run, damage to Pete Cole's Renault means he's a no-show for his round 1 race against Phil Reeves. Phil's a man on form and would have been difficult to beat, but he's off the power at half track. No need to break anything when he's already won the race. He'll be meeting Dougie Gemmell in the semi-finals, with Keel, don't forget, getting the bye run. Another run for Lisetta, hunting for that 11. But we head back into the pits now to catch up with Dougie Gemmell. Another good run for Lisetta here.
Yeah, on the last round we had issues with the ECU. It wasn't playing ball, caused a lot of problems on the car. We actually lifted the head on that round, so we've had a rethink and swapped ECUs out. It's hitting target boost, it's doing what we want to do now. The car's obviously going where we want it to go, so it's good.
Into the semi-finals here at the Jap Show at Santapod. Strong burnout there from Dougie Gemmell. Has he fixed his gearbox woes from qualifying? Well, if so, Phil Reeves might just have a race on his hands this time out. Well, it's green light drag race. Dougie beats Phil away from the line, but then he's off the power. Phil solos on through to take the win and move into the final as Dougie coasts up the track. No doubt already with ideas of how to fix the car for next time out. Keel Priestman on the planned bye run. Again, no need to push the car when he's got an opponent in the final who's going to take some beating. Gives it a bit of a squeeze at 3/4 track, but he's safely through with an 11.78. Time for the all-important final between Phil Reeves and Keel Priestman. All smiles now, but game faces will come on as soon as they hit the track. Strong burnouts from both cars. It's Keel in the left lane, Phil closest to us, and we'll be going on board with Phil for this one. Almost identical reaction times, but it's Keel with a car length on Phil by half track, and he keeps the advantage, taking the win and the lead in the championships. It's Keel Priestman beating Phil, who runs a close to PB 967. Let's take a look at that run from onboard Keel's car. A perfect run for Keel. He made it look effortless. Well, let's take another look at that one from Phil's point of view. Squirrely away from the line, the car's moving around a tad, and you can see Keel taking the lead and the win here at Jap Show. A quick look at the points after round 3 and confirmation that that win gives Keel the lead in the UK Front Wheel Drive Championship with just 2 rounds to go.
Okay, so that's Jap Show wrapped up, and I'm here with the winner of the UK Front Wheel Drive Drag Series, Keel Priestman. Congratulations. It seemed to all go to plan. 8-second run to start off with, sat down and just went through the eliminations and won the event. Did it all go to plan?
Yeah, pretty much. We back in the 8 again, so that was good. That's what we wanted to do, and the car's not broke, so and we won. So that's what we wanted to do.
And obviously you leave now the leader in the championships by 10 whole points. Congratulations. But next up will be round number 4 of the UK Front Wheel Drive Drag Series here at Santapod Raceway at USC Ultimate Street Car in August. See you here.